Welcome to the Friendly Aussie Podcast.
Let me open a beer real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh,
Let me hit this joint.
Everyone's got something to do before we start.
Yeah.
hey,
Mitch, you should show him the Billy.
Didgeridoo bong. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do that right now.
What were you saying,
Guys, I
Jose?
ain't seen nothing.
am I your first guest ever that doesn't smoke?
That's it. It's a pipe. Well, it's a kind of.
Have a look
I
at
don't know.
this. This is made from
Oh,
wood.
Whoa,
Like that's from a wooden
what?
trunk, bro.
I put, some lacquer on it,
Wow.
but basically I have this indigenous friend, and he makes didgeridoos and he also makes bongs. And so
Wow.
he puts these together.
Talent right there, man. That's
How
crazy.
good is it?
That's
Yeah, it's actually amazing, like-
fan-fucking-tastic.
The difference between smoking through water and just smoking without any mediator, because there really isn't any water in this, and it's smooth
wow.
as fuck. Like you can actually just take a whole hit and be a-okay.
You're
So to
like-
me, it's like A-grade indigenous wisdom. Like you got to listen to the First Nations people.
Wow. That's amazing.
Hey, what time is it over there?
It's
1:30 in the
1:30.
afternoon.
Okay.
Brisbane time. We're East Coast.
Wow.
What about you guys? Is it morning, evening?
Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
8:28 p.m.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. It's
It's
dark.
decent time.
Yeah.
Dark, but not too late. We're not keeping you up. That's good.
Yeah, it's actually perfect timing on both ends, really.
Yeah, it's
It's
perfect.
weird. Like I've been staying up late because I don't have anywhere to be in the morning. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I get that, man. Sleep schedule's whack.
I am well rested.
No, good.
We are live.
Awesome.
All right.
Fantastic.
Hi, Mom.
Hey,
I'm on a
everybody.
weed show.
Holy shit.
You should be proud. You should be proud of your son. Yeah, you guys better strap in. This is a discussion with some producers and I guess just cannabis enthusiasts over in the US, Raul and Jose. How about you guys give a little bit of intro into what you're about and who you are to our audience?
My name is Jose Rosete.
Bit of
I'm
intro
an
into-
actor. I've been an actor for a long time. Raul and I have a brand new film. I Got 5 on It Part 3. Comes out on Monday, 4/20, and we're extremely excited about that. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Just honestly, thank you for reaching out because we haven't had anything like this before, and we were just
Oh, nice.
like, it happened during the week, and
That's
like
all-
how our energy moods just went up. We were just like, whoa.
Yeah, that's all Raul right there, man. Like he's
There we
like
go.
marketing like crazy right now. So, but I'm pretty sure that smoking is at its peak the past like at least 5-6 weeks, where it's like you're just
Is there any
You know,
supply shortage?
forcing people, man. You know, so
Supply shortage. You know what? I remember when it used to be like that. I mean, it's not no more. I mean, if there is a shortage, you know what we do? We go to sleep on pillows.
Holy fuck. Bringing out the
Uh,
pillow at the right time.
you saw this coming, didn't you? Yeah, look at this guy.
We had a feeling.
Only because we saw it earlier.
We've got a few boys asking, where are you guys from?
I'm originally from Arizona, and I've lived in Hollywood and Los Angeles for like the past 10 years.
That's
Cool. Very cool.
And I'm actually born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. And right now I'm currently in Fresno, hanging out in
Okay.
Fresno, California. So it's the central California. So that's where we're at. We're here in the US, talking to our counterparts from Australia, our buddies.
Doing things
Oh.
a little bit differently too, because like you're
Yeah.
still reaching out, even though you're mostly at home, like kind of living in that world,
Yeah.
It's
Good stuff,
honestly
but we're
just the
excited.
collaboration that's come through just because of the whole COVID thing is pretty insane. It's just opened new opportunities. People are finding like completely different things they wouldn't have seen before because, you can be on your phone at like particular times of the day that you otherwise wouldn't be. And you can like randomly catch maybe our content. So one question I had for you was, how did you actually find us?
how can we not find you guys? You guys,
Ah,
you guys, we heard of you guys over here. Come on now.
no way.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you type in some of the top cannabis friendly podcasts, you'll find your guys' podcast listed in certain
few places.
websites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's because while we were researching to do the promo for the movie, and for those that don't know, it's a comedy movie about running a cannabis club out of Fresno, out of Oakland. Sorry about that. And
You're in Fresno.
so that's the comedy. Jose's in it. I'm in it. And Todd Bridges is in it, and he was an actor, a TV actor that was in a show called Different Strokes. And so he's pretty known out here. We brought him back after doing, he hasn't done TV in a long time, and we had him on that film. The first one that we released did amazing. At that time when we released that movie, it was 2005 when we released that film, the first one. I got 501, and we were doing like DVDs and DVD stores, and so we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have Netflix, we didn't have Hulu, none of this stuff. But we got to see the change and evolution and how people are accepting movies, and now everything, since we got smartphones and iPhones, everything is right here in the palm of your hand. So we know we have to go with streaming. Right now, our films are all through Amazon Prime and Google Play and Apple. In fact, today they announced on Apple that we're on the bestsellers list for.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that was amazing. So they're pre-ordering everything. It's on the best-selling list right now on Apple, so you can look it up. And for those that are Amazon, it's going to be an international release. So if you guys are an Amazon Prime member, I know that you have certain, how would you say, options that you wouldn't get normally in other streaming stuff. So we have certain outtakes and music videos that we added to special features. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. It's coming out 4/20. So
Awesome. Something to look forward to.
We're excited.
I just need to check. Do we have Amazon Prime in Australia?
Good question.
That's a good question. Yeah.
We do. I've got Prime. We do. 100%.
Oh.
It'll be.
I got absorbed into that bubble a little bit.
This the first one did amazing. The second one, and see, we made these with very colorful characters. We have a villain in the movie, in part one, and same thing like in part two. We have very colorful. Like our villain in part two has a shower cap and a cape all the time.
That's
why?
menacing.
We don't know why, but he has it on there, and it's
a very heavy accent.
Yeah.
Provocative.
Yeah.
Keeps the people questioning.
Oh man.
Because
I loved it.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we saw a lot of things change when we first took out the first movie. There was like a stigma, when it came to seeing anything with a marijuana plant on it. And we were in Blockbuster and Hollywood Video on a national level back then. So to see.
What a meme.
Do you guys even know what a video store is?
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
we still had some
okay.
suburb. There was one until last year, but they've been phased out like the rest of the world now.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say because there are people out there who don't know what the experience is like to walk into a video store and
definitely the younger
rent
generation.
something and take it home. Yeah, so it's crazy how technology and things have changed, man. So
a lot of things could change from just the house to the video store.
Do you know what I actually miss most about video stores? It's when they started getting into video games.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
That was the best
That's
thing
right.
about him, man, because you can't do that anymore. You can't just go borrow a bloody game.
The
Well,
golden era of gaming
we have
with like a PS2. Come on.
Yeah.
we have this a thing called Redbox where
Yeah.
where you can. But you're right, because back in the day, I would go rent a game, see if I like it first, and then I would go buy it. You know what I mean? So
I would run in there with my arms stretched out down the aisles and just run free in there until
I would like people that I didn't like, or like people who didn't put me like in their movies. I would just like hide their movies.
Okay.
Like they're not
Yeah.
here, but, you know.
Yeah, I remember when I was young, there would be I wanted to get
Oh,
Dragon Ball
man.
Z, and I didn't want anyone else to get it, so I had to go.
I would stash them.
I would stash it, go ask my mum for the money to go get it,
Exactly. I've
and
done
then
that.
come back.
You know,
This is some pro tips. Not like they apply anymore, but
No, maybe they do. We just don't know how.
yeah, right.
When I-
That's true.
when I was
You
in
go.
high school, very long time ago, when I was in high school, Camilo Bravo, who plays my cousin Mario in that movie, and I Got Five on It 3, we grew up together, and we went to the video store. When I asked him we eventually went over there to get the Matrix. Okay, we're like, oh, it's gonna be great, but like before we go, let's smoke a joint. Yeah, but I got so high, we walked out and got home when I was getting ready to put it on. And back then it was VHS.
Yes.
Wow.
Tapes.
Oh, man.
Somehow we ended up with Good Burger.
Oh, I love Good Burger.
Man, and
Welcome
I
to
go,
Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
I've been to the US. I don't understand
my
this shit.
God,
It's
that's
a Nickelodeon
crazy.
movie, Mitch.
Damn. Okay.
I don't know how we ended up with Good Burger.
Yeah.
And I asked Camilo, I go, what the fuck? I thought we were gonna watch The Matrix. He goes, look, it's got to be good. It's orange.
That movie for me was one of my favorites, and even to this day, I still love the Good Burger movie.
Man,
It's a blast from the past. Wow.
wow, yeah.
Man.
You also get
I
it.
don't know.
I do
That was
get it.
crazy.
And we had a question. Do you guys in the States, I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this, but do you guys have people who mix tobacco with cannabis, but in a bong?
Not
That's the
in the
question.
bong.
We call
You
that
guys-
spin.
Or backy bongs, as they are
Really?
so. Well, yeah. Come on.
Wow.
So
People do
because,
that.
because cannabis is kind of scarce here. Like it's fairly expensive, and you can't get it necessarily easily. A lot of people mix it to make it last longer.
So that's like when you cut dope and add like flour to it. You're like you're
Yeah.
cutting weed. You're cutting weed.
100%.
Yep.
You're cutting
Yeah.
weed.
They're
Nice.
cutting weed.
It's
See,
weird.
do that, but then sell it. That's what you should do. That's right.
Ah.
Yeah.
Pre-spun, like you just create joints. You could do that with like a bit of tobacco in it, like a spliff.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sell more of it. You know? So
Mhm.
there you go.
Business model.
Well, Mitch is
You
one
know-
of these people who likes to mix the tobacco with the bong.
Look, okay, yeah, I have to admit I do.
I'm gonna try
I'm-
that. I'm gonna try
I'm not
that.
one of those.
Don't do it.
Look. You might be surprised. You might not. Like the thing is, it kind of hits you hard initially, of course, because it's tobacco. And then after a while, you kind of get this. I guess it's like an anti-anxiety, anti-stress thing that comes in with the tobacco as well. So if you're kind of paranoid and you're on a sativa, sometimes it can be a good thing. I mostly started out through spliffs, and then I ended up just mixing it like through.
It sounds like it's like you would catch a buzz and then get high. And
Yeah.
then you kind of like mix those worlds.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. And in fact, there's some studies out there that say that tobacco actually potentiates THC. So you may actually be getting like a stronger hit of THC by mixing it with tobacco.
That's why
So-
people love rolling blunts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, totally. That's
I
exactly
do
right.
love a blunt. Like you just can't go past it. You just feel like a gangster.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucking it.
Gang,
Blunts
gang.
are pretty.
Like
Blunts are like, you know,
You
only
feel
the
like you're in a
gangsters
rap
get.
video or something?
yeah,
Like-
literally. Like you feel powerful with a blunt in a hand. You know.
Hey guys, have you guys seen the Barney Bumble
Barney Bumble.
video for the film?
Music video. You guys gotta check it out. you
You
guys
gotta
gotta
check
I
check
will
that
have
it
to
out.
check it out.
Gotta check that out.
So in part two, in part one, our characters, me and Jose and Todd Bridges, we're through the whole movie. There is a drought in Oakland, California, where we're at, and we're just trying to get high throughout the whole movie. But no matter what we do, we end up losing our weed. Either a cop throws it out, or we get like sold some fake stuff. And, oh my God,
And they don't
It's-
like smoke like, you know, bunk shit. It's like it has to be top of the line, and
Yeah.
so it's kind of like that. Like that's the mission for the day, and that's like top priority. You know what I mean? Is to get high.
Yeah. And so in that movie, we have a character named Barney Bumble. And anytime,
You'll never, ever forget Barney Bumble. Watch the film and
never,
and you'll see why.
Barney Bumble.
you'll never
Bumblicious.
forget. Yeah, there it
Okay.
is.
I'm gonna have
So
to watch
Bombalicious,
this
man.
now.
Bombalicious, yeah.
his character throughout part one, no matter every time he talks, he raps.
Mm.
It's a rap. It's hilarious. But in part two, we make him a rapper, and he ends up having a music video, and in the special features. Oh, yeah, it was in not just in the special features, but towards the end of the movie, we showed the music video.
Mhm.
That music video we took out and we put it onto YouTube, so you can
Yeah.
find it.
On
It's called
YouTube.
Bumblicious. That's his song that he raps. You know, he calls it Bumblicious. It's in the chorus.
Movie.
And
Where
in
can
that
we
video,
find the movie?
Jose,
Part one is on iTunes, I believe. Part two is on YouTube.
Okay.
Like any type of basic search, it's gonna pop up all over the place. But the Barney Bumble video is on YouTube now,
Okay.
so you can,
That's
you can
cool.
check that out.
We could regard
So
that as
it-
almost the trailer to sell the movie.
yeah,
All right. Yeah,
and that's a
definitely.
character. It's a
Like,
character.
sell
It's
that
funny.
character to us. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Keen.
goodness, it's hilarious.
We'll have a
And-
look
and
after the cast.
the guy, no matter where he goes, he carries an umbrella, and you ask him why, and he's like, "'Cause it's raining game in Northern California." So he just starts singing the whole time, and that's
So even indoors, he has his umbrella because that's just it's a part of his like swag,
That's
like
a shtick.
crazy, like next level swag. So
something that you cannot forget. In part three,
Oh, there's a part 3.
part three now coming
Yeah.
out.
part three comes out
oh,
420.
So,
yeah.
so that okay. So this is part 3. Is the okay? Yep. So that's the movie you guys.
The
are
new
putting
one.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we took out the last time we took out part two, it was in 2008. We're on 2020 now. And so now we have part three.
12 years.
And in part three, Barney Bumble opens up some cannabis clubs, and Jose's character runs the cannabis club. So me and my cousin Mario in the movie now live together, and the bad guys from part one and part two are back, but they're teaming up. It's like something out of a Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I watched the
Yeah.
trailer earlier, and it's just like it looks like a lot of fun. It just looks like it would have been like a fun thing to film.
Oh, it was a blast, man.
Yeah.
It was a blast every single time, man. Every single time when like we get together, and like Raul mentioned, we hadn't shot in over 10 years, you know, and when we got back together, it was like, we didn't miss a beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
So-
like we never left almost. You know,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
The other thing that I want to add is, you know, part one was '05, you said, and then part two was like '08.
08, yeah, 2008, yeah.
So, you know, a long time has passed, and in that time, on a very consistent basis, I've been contacted time after time after time, like, where's part three? Like, do a part three. And I'm like, it'd be nice, you know, I wouldn't mind, but, you know, the time came, and I'm glad that we did it. Raul, I went to the trailer on YouTube like 2 days ago to watch it.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there was like maybe 30, 40 comments. And I'm
Right.
like, oh boy, because like I don't do like reviews or fucking
Yeah.
comments. And dude,
Yeah.
it was all love. It was everyone going,
Wow.
yes, 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 except for one dude.
It was me in
No, no, no.
disguise.
It was one dude who said, man, I hate that they're old now. And I'm like, relax, man. We're not that old. Like, come on, man. Like, be nice. Like, we're not that old. It's cool. You know, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, you're like,
12
what?
years have
What?
passed. It's
How-
canon.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you when you recorded the first one?
I mean, 2000. If it came out in '05, we probably shot it in like '04. But I'm not gonna give you my age or anything like that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me pick up my cane. Hold on.
My back is killing me.
My
man.
back is killing me. Fuck.
You guys must
Smoke
have
a
been
joint.
basically kids, like just like a bit out of high
Yeah.
school, or
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, a few years after, it was really cool. It was a great experience. And while we filmed it, the shit was still illegal out here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so here we are trying to make a movie about it. And you know, we saw a lot of things change, and not just in the cannabis community, but in the CBD community. And you know, a lot of times we would fight and lose, you know. But like recently, we took a big loss because we had one of the face of CBD movement that inspired the strain of CBD oil for Charlotte's Web. She
Yeah,
passed
cool.
away. She was
Yeah,
only
we saw that.
13 years old.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Awful.
And those things scare me because, like, when I was young, I used to have seizure, and every now and then I still get kind of like I have a tick, or you know, I get nervous. And my daughter now, she's 19. My daughter's 19 now. But when she was 5, 6, 7 years old, for a few years, she also had seizures. And then
Oh.
my son now, who's 9, when he was 5 years old, he had a seizure. I don't know if obviously it's got to be hereditary, but one of our old remedies that I would get from like my grandma and my aunts, like they actually would make these like these drinks and oils like CBD oils, and that was something that we already kind of knew about. We were like, no, don't talk about it, you know, too much. But that actually helped me a lot, and I just like totally forgot about it until recently when we were talking about, you know, that this whole thing. My mom actually brought that up. She goes, you used to hide the medicine they would give you at the doctor. I would find it under the pillows and the couches, and I would constantly hide it because I didn't like pills. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that can cause harm to you. Especially imagine a little kid, a little 5-year-old taking these pills. So they would give me different remedies, home remedies, and so seeing this happen, man, it really hits home. Like, wow, that sucks. But you know, at least during this whole lockdown thing that we got here in the U.S., I mean, all over the world now, you know, at least we're gonna try and bring some joy with a comedy movie, you know,
Yeah.
to lighten up at least, you know, it's
Yeah,
a good
sure,
thing that's
for
coming
sure.
out of it, you know, so it's gonna be fun. But in San Francisco, they ruled out cannabis is not an essential thing. So
Oh.
they did it for a while. So, but what happened there is the whole cannabis community all over California banded together in support, saying, "No, no, this is why." You know, because I think a lot of people don't understand that it's not just about just getting high. Like there's certain things that people reasons why they take this, you know, whether it's for Alzheimer's or um, you know, some kind of pain that they have, and
That's a good
a
point.
lot of
That's a
older,
good point.
yeah, and so that to them that was their pharmacy, you know, like they didn't want to take any kind of pain pills or any kind of other types of medicine. So a lot of the owners or people that supported the cannabis clubs throughout the whole Bay Area spoke up. And like 3 days ago, it was on Rolling Stones that they finally announced that the cannabis is actually and CBD would be be essential. So they're keeping the clubs open for now. So haha, we won, motherfuckers! Yeah,
That's a good result. That's a great result.
yeah.
I'm glad that they've at least kept that section of the population in mind, that for them it really is an essential thing to pick up a medicinal
Yeah.
plant.
We
Yeah,
we need more of this type of stuff going on.
you do.
You know, this movie is more than just some comedy movie. There's a reason behind the motivation behind this film. We need to have more of these type of films, and we're hoping that the, you know, the cannabis community gets together, whether they're documentaries or just fun skits. We need more shows like your guys' shows out there, because you know, the more that this bands together and becomes a solid format, you know, even just on TV, because you can have that on radio in Canada, you know, and we just got one that got added on iHeartRadio here in the States. So,
Awesome.
and it's just people like doctors and all these people they're calling and they're talking about, and it's something every single day, you know. It's a great talk radio that play music here and there, but we need this, you know. We need shows like yours, we need movies like this, we need stories of people succeeding in this, because the more that we can actually do something like this, the more we can legalize this type of stuff, and we're out there. And I see this happening with you guys. I think I'm
We're
hoping.
a long while away. Like
Yeah.
we've got a big fight ahead of us to get there. But I think the COVID sort of stuff has probably helped us, because, you know, industries have been destroyed. When the world starts rebuilding, there's a really, really good market that's available that hasn't been completely utilized. So
Wow.
I think that's
That's
going to be a
crazy.
little bit of our chance to get something happening. The question here will be how corporate it becomes.
Right.
We have a lot of, like, our government is very controlling. Like it's they have their hand in everything. So
Wow.
it's we're not quite sure how everything's going to go. But we did have one very small pocket of Australia, which is actually where all our politicians sit. So, you know, you have Capitol Hill, we have
Mhm.
Canberra, and that's like our capital territory. It's like a territory,
Cool.
not a state, inside a state, that
Yeah.
where all the politicians go, and they just legalized.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
But
That's
it's
a
not a
step,
legal
though, man.
market.
Like that's a step. Okay.
It
Yeah.
That's a
is.
step. That's a
And the
step.
public opinion in Australia is broadly on the side of legalization. It's really just that our political class is so far behind, as they are usually.
See-
And, you know, a big part of that as well is vested interests, because we have a lot of opium, a lot of like opioids, I suppose, being produced from our poppies that are, you know, in Tasmania, we're one of the largest poppy producers on the planet.
Mhm.
and that's all sanctioned by the UN Treaty on Narcotic Drugs, which also makes cannabis illegal. So there's, you know, treaties, international and national laws that just tie up the whole process. I think what we need is a kind of like public democratic movement that's just like, why can't people just, you know, modulate their consciousness the way that they want to, given that there's plenty of, like, you know, just with cannabis, there's plenty of benefits. But I think this is more of a civil liberties issue when it comes to people being able to choose what they do with their lives and not having
that's
some.
where, that's what we
sorry.
move towards. No, that's where we move towards. What you're talking about right there. That's how it happened. And what you are, I would just say reflecting or unloading is something that everyone's feeling,
For sure.
you know, and so they're saying it, and I think that's exactly right. What happened here is people. It started out like that, you know, and what ended up happening is that they started doing more music like that.
Creating stuff.
Creating content. It wasn't, you know, such a big deal on it with TV. Now we got, you know, companies like Hulu and Netflix and that accept movies to come in digitally stream. So the more like Amazon Prime is a great company because they're very open to independent film.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Amazon's good with that.
we need that. We need more people to actually do this type of, especially if you're an avid advocate for the cannabis movement. If you see that happening, if you're in that and you don't know what else to do, but you're you're talented in filming, and you see that this is what you want to do, like we need you to do that, because
I hear that.
it's gonna help tilt it more that way. And before you know it, boom, it happens. And you're like, wow, wait, what? Like when they got legalized over here, I didn't believe it. Like, wait,
Yeah, right.
That happened.
Before you know it, yeah, it's insane. It happened like that.
I thought like California would be like one of the like last places. Like no way, just not California.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
It was looking like there was a lot of for a long time, like, you know, there were other states that were sort of ahead of California in the legislative game, and then they just kind of like really quick fast through that
out of nowhere,
direct democratic amendment. Like, you know how you guys, when you go to the ballot box, you can sometimes just vote on an issue, like a proposition, like that kind of thing. If we had that in Australia, that would be so good. That would mean that we could actually have a direct vote on cannabis, and, you know, all of the shit
give us that freedom.
Yeah, like we haven't really got access to that in our system, unless we have a referendum, which is a constitutional change. So we would have to inscribe in our constitution that cannabis is legal or something like that.
The like other thing about like California though is that even if they never did, like the thing about California is that so many people out here just hold their fucking balls and go, we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
So like you might as well do it, but we're not gonna miss a beat. So, you know, let's come together or not, but
it's gonna happen.
People are still gonna sell weed, buy weed, smoke weed. So
so true.
You know what I mean?
And at the end of the day, that's what's happening here. And as Fab, like, you know, our kind of mission or idea, generally speaking, is to do exactly what you said. Just create content, create good shit for the cannabis community, by the cannabis community, get this kind of mutual beneficial symbiotic relationship going. Because there are already great people who are doing great stuff, and we just want to work with them. To make stuff
connect
happen.
Everything. We're trying to connect that network here. Like the biggest problem with our community here, it's completely fragmented. So you can't get everyone on side. Everyone kind of has their own little agenda, and there's a massive ego in the cannabis community in Australia.
So what you do is you get one of those megaphones and be like, "Hey guys," and just keep doing it until they listen. They're like, "All right, yes."
Actually, not a bad
friendly.
idea.
Yeah, I mean,
We have to be friendly.
But what I'm saying as a metaphor, keep doing it bigger and better, and raise the stakes to keeping that up here. You know, and there's a lot of amazing things happening there in Australia, because I mean, you guys got an amazing music industry, film industry, and then this podcast industry. It's like you guys can definitely take it to that level. And even if other guys come up, like that's gonna help the whole thing. There's always
Totally.
the difference is this. Over here we have all kinds of podcasts that are cannabis based, but some of them just talk about CBD. The other ones just talk about hemp. Some of them are rappers rapping and smoking weed. Some of them are a guy sitting down and watching movies and doing a review.
Yeah.
But what it is, it's normalizing. It's bringing the human part out of people and letting people know, like, no. This is not just about when they picture something of it has anything to do with cannabis. They just picture some kind of stoner there, and some bleachers or something.
Yeah.
But
we're really trying to build that image, change like the perception, change
Yeah.
that, and that will get us to help, bring it to the masses.
I've gotten high with CEOs
Yeah, of course. Some of
that
the
you
most
would never
successful
think.
people. Yeah,
And
some of
they're squares, and you would never guess. They're like, damn, man, I didn't know. And these guys are Ivy League guys.
Yeah.
All Ivy League.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so the more of these type of people, that produce content that creative, what's beautiful is creativity can never be taught. It's something you're born with. And that's something that at least you guys got, which I love.
And you too, on the other side of the world, just being creative, doing what you do since you were in high school or just left high school, it's the same energy.
What's really cool is from these movies we gotten all kinds of great opportunities to do a lot of things, and we're pretty stoked about what's going on. But Jose, I think this guy's been in a bunch of movies, man. A bunch of hey Jose, did you ever have any that came out right there in Australia?
You know what, man? I think the best movie that I ever did, I shot in Cambodia.
Oh, cool.
3 years ago, and the director and his team are from Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
That's cool.
Yeah. His name is Mark Toya. He's like a big deal out there in the commercial world, but like he travels all over the world. He does this like amazing stuff. And his first film, I was fortunate enough to get a part of, in it, and we actually did this last week, and we got to see it for the first time, and it comes out probably here in like 2 or 3 months. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But it's called Monsters of Man, and it's a sci-fi film about robots in the jungles of Cambodia.
Oh,
What?
Dude,
that's so intense.
What?
dude, it's so under wraps that like I can't post anything. I can't do nothing. It's this big
Damn it.
secret, man.
Did you just tell us? You told us enough, man.
Oh yeah, but I mean that's just what I'm saying. But like as far as like visuals and pictures and like all this stuff that I'm sitting on that I can't release, but it's a fucking badass Australian
I'm sold.
filmmaker. So
I'm checking that
I'm
shit out when it
sold.
comes out.
dude,
I
badass,
heard
dude,
jungle.
badass.
I heard jungle, monsters, and robots, and I was like,
Robots,
"Fuck
bro.
yeah!"
Sold.
Dude, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. But yeah. So
That's great.
Raul told me one of you guys starred in The Walking Dead. Was that you?
yeah, it was the a spin-off of the show called The
Fear.
Walking Dead Red Machete,
Yeah.
which is like a spin-off that's based on like a prop. And for this one, it was that actual like machete with the red handle.
Yeah.
And it aired every Sunday night with the actual show, and it lives on the Amazon Walking Dead website and their YouTube page, and
That's cool. I'll have to have a look because I still watch the Walking Dead. The last 2 seasons have been incredible.
Yeah. I just did I did a movie a while back with one of the lead actresses who's in the new one that comes out, I think next week or
Oh.
yeah.
Do you
wow.
mean the new spin-off, the one set like 10 years in the future?
I think so. Yeah, like I saw the
That's it.
trailer
Yeah,
and like it looks good, man. It looks
It's
good.
the one with the
It's real
kids,
good.
yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks really fun. It looks like Stranger Things, but in the Walking Dead world.
It does. Yeah, it does. It does. It does. So yeah.
What? Stranger Things, but Walking Dead?
Yeah,
Shit,
it's
sign
the
me
kids.
up.
They've
Yeah.
never seen like the zombies walkers or whatever, and they go outside this giant city walls to explore and shit, and they're just like maybe 13, 14-year-olds, I would say.
Yeah, right.
It looks really fun, but it goes through. You can see that the city that they're in is like a really oppressive city. It's like a lot of rule and order and that sort of stuff. So you could imagine like that kind of angsty teenager, like, "Fuck you, fuck the system. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna go see what's real."
It's kind of
Careful
funny.
what you wish
'cause
for.
It
Careful
seems
what
like
you
all
wish
of
for,
those all those
Yeah.
like novels that you would read about rebellious teenagers, like the fucking Hardy Boys and all that fucking shit.
Right.
Like now it's ended up on television. It's just got like a cool aesthetic, like an 80s aesthetic, and everyone's eating it up.
Yeah, I think,
But actually, I love it.
Yeah.
Can't speak against it.
hey, man, it's for entertainment purposes. You know what I mean? So
Totally. It's good
especially-
entertainment.
especially now. So
No, and people need it.
Oh.
That's the important thing.
I have a movie for you gentlemen to watch that was shot in Australia. And it's not a very well-known movie, but it is probably one of the best movies I have ever watched in my entire fucking life.
Oh yeah, Wake in
Mm.
Fright. You talking
Wake
about
in Fright.
What?
That's gonna
So-
scare you out of like ever coming to Australia. Period.
Wake and Fry.
Wake in
It's
Fright.
Fright.
It's a like 1973 film that was never
Oh, wow.
released, and it was like until
Oh.
like maybe a couple of years ago.
I'll give you the whole
Wow.
story. I'll tell you the story.
Yeah,
It came out in
yeah.
71, and
71,
it was
sorry.
actually shot by an American, but it was shot in the Australian outback. And it has some of the best cinema photography you'll ever see. And it is basically about a high school teacher after school ends that's trying to get back
Like real posh and British too.
a really
think.
pompous
wow.
kind of dude, and he's trying to get back, but he's lost kind of all his money, and it's about what you do in the middle of the outback in the 1970s, and it's well fucked up. And what happened was
It's
it
like a
got
psychological
lost.
horror. It's like the whole thing is
No
that designed
way.
to fucking make you insane. Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's like it like still stands up now.
Yes,
Like it
so
does.
I'll explain what
Really?
happened. It was so kind of a little just too much for people to watch in the 70s. It got locked away, and then somewhere around 2009 they found it in an old library, and then they restored the film and remastered the whole thing, and then they released it, and it was loved by Scorsese and like some of the biggest directors you've ever seen. They were like, I was
shit.
just left speechless. Like this
Wake
movie
and
is
Fright.
Wake in Fright.
It's a classic.
The
Is
old
there-
lady for Titanic was holding you.
It's got a, I'm pretty sure a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is
Oh,
there
wow.
is there
Shit.
like was there anyone like a part of the cast or the crew that's still alive that was able
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like, talk
plenty.
about it? Oh, really? Oh, wow. No shit.
There would be
Wake
a
and
couple.
Fright.
Mhm.
Wake and Fright. Okay.
I'm trying to remember who was the big guy. Jack Thompson was a big guy.
Yeah, check that out.
Now, how do you watch that film? Like, is it like online on like?
I think it is on YouTube actually.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay. Good.
What?
I think you can buy it. I think it's like a $2-3 thing. Yeah, you can buy and rent it on YouTube.
Okay. Wake and Fright. Got it right.
Tight.
100%. Like that will scare you shitless from coming to Australia.
Damn.
Or maybe you'll just stay in the cities. You'll be
Yeah.
like, all right, not leaving civilization.
Ever.
Wow.
Yeah, so definitely recommend checking that out. And it's really awesome to meet filmmakers and actors. Like that's not like a commonality for us. We've always wanted to make a film. Like we love film. We've got actually this little plan we had one night when we got a little too high. We want to make a film about
One of
trying to
them.
get Ice Cube to star in our zombie film, but it's about the process of getting to Ice Cube and getting to it. And then when we eventually figure out how to get to Ice Cube, we get that meeting. He's like, all right, shit, I'll do it. And then just suddenly the zombies and shit will come out of nowhere. And he's like, for real, man? And then the movie just drops. And then hopefully Hollywood will pick it up and make the actual movie after that moment.
So our pitch is the movie. The prequel will be the pitch.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm a huge Ice Cube fan, man. I love Ice Cube.
Ice
Me
Cube
too,
is
man.
like too underrated, honestly. Like he needs more recognition
making
for
good
how good
shit.
he is.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, like he's
I like
been like my number one in my top 5 for the year, and it's like not gonna change. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Eternal.
That's it.
That's
We
it.
want to call the movie "Are We Cubed Yet?"
But we're still, it's a working title, you know?
So
Make it work.
we're just putting it out there. If you have any Kevin Bacon connections to Ice Cube, it'd be great.
Yeah, let us know.
okay, but here's the thing: you better like patent it and copyright and all that shit, because now everyone's gonna take it and run with it.
But
Everyone
ideas
knows.
are not free.
They're gonna bootleg it and put iced tea in it instead.
Yeah, we said if we couldn't get Ice Cube, we would get Ice Tea.
Oh, and you'll see it in Redbox too. It's crazy.
Are there red box there? No, right?
I think there was at one point. Maybe they weren't
really?
successful.
We have our like video stores that existed, and they've turned into the boxes.
Yeah,
okay,
it's like
okay.
Video Easy and shit.
I think even
Yeah.
Blockbuster has a couple here.
Even Blockbuster has a video box here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, no shit. They're like just hanging in there. Then they're like, let's do something.
There's
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
a few Blockbusters left
Wow.
in tourist kind of towns. So just like old retiree places where a lot of older people go to just retire or go on holiday. There's a couple video stores actually open there, and I think 1 or 2 I can think of that are Blockbusters.
I feel like none of those places would exist though if we actually got the MBN, like the proper broadband upgrade. But our government pussied out, and so now we're like, we're in a situation where we still have copper wires, basically. Like 80% of the
Oh,
country
Yeah,
still.
wow.
So does the
connected
US
to
though,
copper.
like central US, you got there's shitty internet all around.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
true.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
it's how it is, I guess.
It is in the end.
Gotta roll
Still
with
got
it.
Blockbusters.
So let me know a little bit. You talked a lot about the CBD community, and I
Yeah.
was just kind of wondering a bit more about that. Like, is that mainly just for medical, or is it just a lot of people that are just like avid CBD users? Because we don't even really have CBD legal here.
But
Yeah, there was a stigma for a long time. What's happening with the CBD movement is a lot of people are not just taking it; they're giving it to their pets, and cats and dogs. They're vampires. They're vampires. They're like hanging out in the corner. Oh, thank you. But what's happening is that they would take that, and instead of taking any kind of antidepressants or stress medicine when they have anxiety, a lot of people are moving towards that. And sometimes it helps. There's a lot of people that move towards that's more healthier when it comes to doing that. And so what's happening here also is people are growing hemp and CBD, for medicinal purposes. And also they can make clothes out of them and all kinds of stuff that you can do with hemp.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely love hemp.
Yeah, I'm excited about it because it's an amazing shift for certain people that are not used to that. Like I have these cigarettes. These are hemp cigarettes. They're not any chemicals in it, and it's like it has some CBD in it, calms you down and mellows you out. But it tastes just like it tastes like a cigarette and smells like cannabis, but it doesn't get you high, but it mellows you out.
Nice.
Cool. You know what I'm saying?
I'm having a
So-
CBD cartridge.
oh yeah,
And-
how do you guys feel about the oil cartridges,
The dab pens.
the kind of dab pen stuff that happened not long ago in the US? Do you have any opinions or thoughts on that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no.
He's the smoker. He's the
Yeah.
smoker, man.
Yeah, I also vape. So
Yeah, cool.
like, what's happening is that they banned that. They're moving towards that. But now I think there's a lot of things that are happening to help change certain stuff. But yeah, I felt there's just not enough studies.
Right.
It's gonna happen like that. That's exactly what happened. Even with marijuana, even with alcohol.
Sure.
You know,
When it's not regulated, when you don't have that shit. Yeah.
So we're still in the process. We're gonna see little things like this, but
Mm.
it's a huge industry, and there's new products coming out all the time, and like this right here. This is from Bobby Dabs. He's a very well known guy out here that does dabs, and it's just got these. I mean, this guy didn't pay me anything. I'm just like, I got one of these, and he gave me stickers. I was like, oh, cool, man.
Some amazing branding he's got there.
Yeah, it's very colorful,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very colorful. And then so there's a lot of things coming out. There's a lot of vapes. Rappers out here are doing their own vape lines. I don't know if we seen one for Kid Leroy yet, but but like you'll see stuff in Little Pump, and all these guys have these vapes, cannabis vapes, THC. It has THC.
Yeah.
Some of them have their own CBD ones, but it's a huge business.
No, for sure.
I think we're gonna get to see the things that we're doing here, and hopefully you guys can apply a lot of that and stuff that we can disagree on. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be a good influence.
Yeah, like the most interesting thing about the US is definitely that you guys are going into territory as like a modern 21st century nation that like it's a bit of an experiment in the sense that you guys are just deciding to see what the social impacts of legalizing cannabis are. When we've been propagandized for decades that it's the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong way to go. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really important. The drug war kind of was imported to Australia from the US. Maybe legalization can do the same.
It's just a matter of enough time passing, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. Well, like 10 years, 12 years behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and you're gonna look back on it going, we could have done this a long time ago, like everyone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I think part of the problem for me that I see with cannabis as a whole is a lot of cannabis users, how they introduce people who haven't smoked cannabis often, especially when you have your new strong cannabis. Often people get introduced incorrectly and they have a bad time, and that's I think probably one of the bigger problems that I always see in the community. Like, here, have a bong. It's like you just can't give someone a bong for their first time,
What am I smoking? Crack! You're smoking crack!
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, there's a culture here in Australia. Like, if you don't sink the cone, if you don't sink the bowl, you're a pussy. If you don't like do the entire thing yourself in one go and like collapse it, you're just a pussy.
Yeah,
there's
here
nothing else to be said.
we don't pass the bong here. We don't like pack a big cone and share it. We just finish the whole fucker.
Wow.
Well, and there's like I know that there's like different levels where if you've never smoked or haven't smoked in a while, there's certain things that you might not want to even go near.
Yeah.
You got to ease into it, because if not, you're gonna
have a bad time.
Find yourself in a bad experience.
Yep. See, like my thing is, I don't like necessarily the really high THC cannabis. It's a fun time occasionally, but I like my outdoor grown kind of my like middle kind of grade stuff. It just keeps me more calm. I don't want to be like
there's some amazing what we call bushweed here in Australia.
What?
Yeah, it's just kind of like outdoor grown.
It's not too well taken care of necessarily. Like, it's just been kind of left to the elements and then it gets collected later. And it honestly is just beautiful because it's often put in forests and it's
It picks up a lot of the terpenes in the natural environment. Like, at least that's my theory.
Yeah, no, cannabis definitely does. The terpenes are attracted to cannabis and then it lingers on the buds. It's that's why outdoor grown just smells fantastic. We have a lot of outdoor grown cannabis in Australia.
And a lot of helicopters trying to find the outdoor grown cannabis in Australia. But it's a
Drones
big
too now.
continent. So yeah. Interesting stuff. Interesting times. How over there, there's so much that we could say is like very similar to how we do things here, but you are also on the next level, and that's what we're really trying to achieve. So it's pretty inspiring, really, that you've got such a strong community presence. You've got such a strong
The
sense
culture's just
of
there. That's what
yeah,
it
like
is.
it's an industry.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm.
Really cool. Also, the
Yeah.
way that you can just I don't know,
I feel
like
like-
link that into your content creation in general. You know, like you have things that are linked to it that are just your own projects.
Yeah, like I think like a big part of it too is that we got to a point where like we had so many public figures, like celebrities are like one thing, but like so many public figures and celebrities who are like, look, I do this, I smoke, that's it. Like
Yeah,
that's
right.
just the way that it's that it's gonna be. And if you're in Australia and you're a public figure or a celebrity and you only smoke behind closed doors, it's almost like coming out. Like you got to come out. You got to come out because that's what's it's a common, normal, everyday thing now.
I think it's really
Everywhere.
important that celebrities do come out about that stuff, because even if people are going to make a distinction between themselves and like the rich celebrities, the people who often get a lot of attention, there's this thing where if celebrities can do it in the privacy of their own home and be okay, why can't people of lower socioeconomic brackets? Why can't people of, you know, communities who are just regular people who get regularly harassed by the police or by the authorities for doing something within their home? So I think, you know, like showing that kind of hypocrisy in a way, that's what celebrities can do just by coming out and say, yeah, I use cannabis.
Or you know what? Just like anyone who's successful with a degree and they're smart, because like a lot of people think if you smoke weed that you're just an absolute pothead and you're fucking
Yes.
lazy and you don't do anything, where it's like, no, like you can still smoke and be responsible.
A functioning member of
For sure.
society.
Yeah, it's like it's not about
There
getting
you go.
smashed
That's
until
the
you fucking fall
word.
down. Yeah, functioning.
Yeah. In
That's
fact,
definitely the line we push here.
But in
At
fact,
that.
you're actually maybe even more of a functioning member of society because you have to be able to afford your cannabis habit.
Yeah.
Have to
Like-
remain on top of it all while being stoned. So it's even more
Yeah, but
effort.
see,
It's
if
kinda
you
tricky.
smoke it, then you're getting it from somewhere. And if it's
Ah.
illegal, then like they're doing something that they're not supposed to do. So allow them to do it legally, where you know people, because you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's not going anywhere like anytime soon ever. So
I feel like
So-
we'd have a really easy I don't know, case. Like that would be the case we would make to the Australian public, and it would probably work if we had a sympathetic government. But right now we got the Conservatives in. They've been in it for the past 9 years, basically, and they
Oh, wow.
control all the debate. They control the political discourse. The other party just kind of like reacts to it. So
Yeah. And our media is controlled almost entirely by the Conservative Party's backers. So
it's just
it's
like-
very hard to do a lot politically here.
So trick them and get everyone together, you know, and
It's
know,
hard
run-
because people here get very the feeling of victimization. So you know, you go to protest, then they know who you are because our population isn't too big. They can figure out who all of us are with a bit of research and all of that. And then they feel like they might get targeted. So you know, when you've got kids and things like that,
that's just fear. That's fear. You know, that sucks, man.
that comes with
That's
it.
true.
You see, what ended up happening, the argument behind how we got legalized is that we started letting them know that if we tax this,
yeah.
and it'll come back to the city. And
Yeah.
what ended up happening is now you have organizations like here in the U.S., like Seth Rogen and his wife doing a foundation for Alzheimer's, and they're running money. They're getting um, uh, all these donations from doing all these cannabis shows and events, that starring Seth Rogen, and he'll bring in, comedy act and some rappers that come out and like Snoop Dogg. But it's like how cool is that, for to establish something like that here. They have a foundation
Yeah.
for Alzheimer's,
Mm.
and it's cannabis related. So I mean,
That's right.
you look at things like that, and we say to ourselves, okay, look, we could tell this is something that now is going towards mainstream, where it's acceptable.
Yeah.
It's not so much of a stigma. See, I think Colorado got legalized before us, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
we saw what happened within the first, I think the first day. I don't know how much taxes it raised. Like they made millions and millions of dollars for the state.
Mm.
And we're like, damn, this could actually work. So, you have smaller communities like, Stockton and Lodi and,
Yeah.
like Sacramento over here in,
Yeah.
in California, that are now moving towards certain stuff. Like in Fresno, they have different zones of where you can grow it. And there's people that grow hemp.
Wow.
So they have fields of just hemp.
Hmm.
And they have security guards there. I mean, it looks just like weed, but they won't get you high. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there is already an industry for that here. And shoot, they already started making stocks for it. You can invest into it in stocks. If you have Cash App, you can invest in some cannabis stock. So you see those type of things, and it's being used for different stuff like diabetes and Parkinson's and all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
I want to
and
ask you a
and
question
that's
real quick.
yeah.
What's your biggest like sport out there?
Oh, good question.
We have kind of two.
We have a few actually. Like we've got cricket. Cricket is
Okay.
is a big one. We've also got a couple of different football codes. So there's Aussie rules, which is kind of like you're kicking it, and like dropping it down onto your foot, and like you're running with the
As a
ball, but you have to
football.
bounce it every 15 minutes. It's football, but with your hands and
wow.
feet.
15 steps, isn't it?
Yeah. And you have to kick like a goal, but it's between like 4 posts, and you have to kick between the 2 middle posts, and it gives you 6 points. It's kind of random. It's a random.
There's a
game.
few of your punters in the NFL that are from Australia that play that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Some
So
of the
it's
best
it's
kickers
quite a
we've got.
physical game.
Okay. The reason why I ask is because I feel like one of the bigger like game changers were ex-athletes, like retired older athletes who said, I've been smoking this whole time. And I couldn't say,
Wow.
like anything
Hold on,
before,
guys.
but like,
No worries.
but like I'm doing it now because, I'm older. I played this like physical sport and it took its toll. And now
Yeah.
I'm like hurting and I'm older and, like if I smoke these like, other options that I'm doing, they really do help me.
It's a good
You know what I
idea. We
mean?
should try and
So-
find some old athletes. I reckon we
Yeah,
could
good
find
point.
some.
I think like any of your like older retired athletes from like your leagues and your different
Mhm.
sports, like for someone to step up and go, it's okay, like this actually helps, so
Mhm,
That would
mhm.
be huge. That would be really huge.
You reckon Ian
So you're
Thorpe
right.
would be a lad?
what's that?
Yeah, he seems like a kind of stoner dude.
Who's
Um,
that?
there's a
He's like
swimmer
the
we've
Michael
got here.
Phelps of Australia,
Australia.
almost.
Oh, Phelps? Dude,
Yeah.
like have you seen what he eats?
Yeah.
No. What does he eat?
Just like a part of his like training and like he's like obviously like exercising constantly, but he eats this ridiculously amount of just carbs.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
has to
okay.
eat so much
Just
to
all
get that
kinds
energy.
of shit, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. And he's like super fit and like thin and like
Yeah.
all that, but he eats a fucking ton.
Has to.
He's a
There's
machine.
So much energy burnt.
Well, wait, Phelps got caught smoking a
For
bomb.
doping, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes. he
Yeah,
did.
that's right. Like that fucking picture came out or that video came out. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, you know what I mean? But here's the thing. He's still great. It didn't like ruin his life. He didn't like become some fucking donkey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like people might
Like,
lose.
this fucking guy,
Fuck,
man.
What the hell, man?
Yo, someone's a fucking show off.
What is it? What is it?
Oh, this? Just 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds of weed.
Yeah.
That's it.
What strain?
What we have is called Basio. They're cookies. It's a cookies
Yeah.
brand. It's a
It's a
hybrid.
lot of cookies.
Yes, sir. We're trying to make it happen. But
Guys, look.
yeah.
Bud Light.
I can't compete with this guy, man. Look at fucking show off.
man.
You're a fucking
Hey.
show off, bro.
No, I'm over here running the cannabis club while you're gone, my friend. What's wrong with you?
But here, man, Bombalicious, you gotta check it out.
It's an amazing movie.
I'm
Amazing.
curious.
It's amazing.
Would you have a count of how much you kind of consume in a week? Like, how many grams of flour would you smoke a week? And like, that would be interesting.
Shit, I smoke every night before I go to sleep, and then
Yeah.
I wake and bake.
And you wake and bake.
I wake and bake, and then it helps me focus because I'm a lot of people that know me. I'm very hyper,
Yep.
very off the wall. I can bounce off, blah, 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 blah. And so what's happened is every once in a while I'll just take out the pen and just bake
Yeah.
real quick because it doesn't smell. And
Mhm.
sometimes I just like recently what happened is I had a glass bong that I was like, all right, wow, we're gonna quarantine. Oh no, you're gonna be locked up. Oh, what do I do? Oh no. And so I bought a bunch of pounds of weed. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll be fine. So I had a bong. And then that shit, when the first day I didn't even get to smoke out of it, I was like, all right, I'm ready, guys. And, after blocking the windows from the zombies and everything, right? Because they're gonna. This happens just. I don't know if you noticed, but this is exactly what happens right before a zombie attack, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
That's
Food goes
true.
away, there's no toilet paper. There's no deodorant,
Mhm.
whatever. So. I was right there and I like reached over to go get a lighter and then with my elbow knocked the bong off the table and smashed it into millions of pieces. So
Fuck.
what I started doing is getting just regular cans, doing it old school way and just like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, the
Poke some
tinnies.
holes.
Yeah.
Damn,
Poke some
son.
holes in the
We call
car.
that a tinny.
I'm gonna have to go through 5 pounds using a can.
No.
That's
Just order
crazy.
something.
Best of luck. Best of luck.
Mm.
Not gonna
Have you
happen.
Maybe you'll need a few cans actually.
Are you guys into the dry herb at all? Like the dry herb vaporizer, sorry.
Like a vape?
Yeah,
Vape?
yeah, like where you're actually using dry herb, not your oils, like your volcanoes, your mighties, your packs.
Yeah, there's a new line that Burner took out.
Burner.
And yeah, he just
Burner
released
and
them.
Be Real, right?
Yeah, Burrell just and you know what? Shout out to those guys. Those guys are Burner's a guy, a local native from where I'm from, San Francisco. He just released a new album with Be Real from Cypress Hill.
Los
And,
what?
Los Meadows.
Los Meadows. That's what it is. Yeah.
Los Meadows, which means the main guys, the
Yeah.
bosses. So they just released an album. It's amazing. It's got everybody. It's got Dr. Dre in it. It has all kinds of people in it. It's amazing. And a lot of these artists from there's like this one from like Mexico. He's like a rapper, doesn't speak any English. This guy's on there, still smoking Kush in Mexico, but like he's doing it, and he makes it onto the album. It's an amazing album. If you guys are really into some hip hop, you guys want to see what kind of California hip hop and rap sounds like since the Dr. Dre stuff, like
Yeah.
check out that album.
That'd be
It's
cool.
called Burner featuring Be Real. I mean Burner and Be Real. And it's
Burner and
called
Be
Los
Real.
Meadows.
That's so catchy. Burner and Be Real.
Yeah, because he
That almost sounds
burns.
like burn her and be real.
Temper that how you may.
or
There's so
be
many things to
gone.
look up. Be gone. I like that. Be real.
Yeah. That's amazing. What's so these the show that show that you guys went to? What kind of expo is that? Is that like
The Hemp Health and Innovation Expo. So there's a lot of hemp people. So a lot of people who had just hemp-based products. There's a lot of hydroponic shops. There was
The Nimbin Hemp Embassy, which is a bunch of old folks from Nimbin's kind of like our unofficial de facto cannabis capital in the lush forests of northern New South Wales.
It's a very very small town. Like you're talking about just one strip of main like shops and houses. And then the houses are dispersed on bigger properties, and it's what you'd kind of call the hippie epicenter of Australia. Like it's kind of where all the hippies kind of gather.
They all came from San Francisco from the 70s.
Yeah, so like
some
how does
probably
that
did. Some probably
how
were
does
there.
that happen? How does that happen with like how they're so against it? Like is it
Well,
like
they're
one
so
day
far
or is it-
away from any main city. They're like maybe a 3-hour drive from probably one of the bigger cities. So there isn't that enough police to police such a small area. And it's like in the middle of like forestry. Like you're talking just.
That's smart. That's smart though.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's a few communes around there and that sort of thing. And
They really colonized like cattle country because it used to be just, a bunch of farmers hanging out there, but they saw that this land was basically, God's work, and they just decided to settle there in the 70s.
That right there, that's another one of those steps in that direction. Because that's going to get a little better, or it'll pop up,
Yeah, they laid our groundwork, our foundation, which is,
that's
a lot of that older generation.
Balls. Yeah,
that's
that's like holding your balls, going, look, it's if this is that important to us, we're gonna do it, man. You know what I mean? So
for sure.
They're actually a political party as well. So they call themselves the Hemp Party, the Help End Marijuana Prohibition Party. So last election, they actually got a really good number of votes. They didn't get a seat in Parliament, but they were very close in 2 states. Very, very close. So I think the next time round they'll do well because they got a lot of primary votes, which gave them a lot of money to advertise for the next election.
In our system, minor parties kind of have a bit more of a chance, and any of the votes that they get go towards their funding. They get like a bit of money for each vote. So that kind of helps the cannabis community with promotion and with kind of activism, having a party involved in politics.
So that's how we're trying to do a few things. That's it. It's we've got a really, really long and big battle ahead of us, but the culture in Australia around cannabis is pretty good. Like everyone's just chilled out. Everyone kind of knows what's up, but because we are such a big country, the police presence isn't felt that much depending on where you're living. You're generally pretty safe here in terms of like getting harassed. Unless you're like out in public, smoking very publicly, then you're going to get into a lot of shit. But generally, if you're in the privacy of your home, most of your neighbors, they don't say anything or anything like that. It's a good. We've got a generally very laid back kind of culture here.
Yeah.
I bet you your neighbors are looking around going, do you smoke? Because I do. You know what I mean? Like,
we had an idea on one of our podcasts for 420 because we're all in isolation at 420 on 420 to go out to the driveway and sink a bowl and just blow it out in the street. And so like almost like a little march. Because we have a similar thing for kind of Memorial kind of Day. I don't know what their Veterans Day. What would you call Anzac Day, Mitch?
Yeah, it is kind of like a Veterans Day or like a Remembrance Day.
Yeah. So cool. That was an idea we were tossing up, but
you should do that and then go watch I Got 5 on 3 afterwards.
There you go.
That's it.
As the community, yeah, that'd be dope.
We'll live stream it. We'll watch it together on the internet. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That could be cool. Maybe we could do it as a premiere.
Yeah. All right.
I think that would be
That
think
would be
that would be
copyright.
pirating.
That'd be a pirate.
That'd be pirating. Yeah, that'd be pirating.
I'm a proud pirate here, just like breaking copyright law left and right.
We're gonna do the reaction videos. We're like, oh.
Just flip the other video upside down and away you go.
Really? Inside the kitty litter?
Oh no,
No.
that's some good content, high quality content right there.
No, but if you only knew what that meant,
Man, yeah.
the whole kitty litter, yeah.
Part
I
one,
don't,
you gotta watch
sorry.
part two.
Part two, yeah, watch part one and watch part two, man.
Okay, give me the
Okay.
time. I'll get back to you on that trip.
Try and get
So-
it done in the next couple days before the launch of 3.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's such an awesome thing. The fact that, I mean, no one can sesh, no one can be together to smoke bowls or the same bong anymore, but you can watch this film together in
Watch
separate
from
There it
rooms.
is. We can do a whole thing where we take a hit and pass it to the next person. The next person takes a hit of their stuff and
Yeah,
passes
yeah.
it to them.
Oh, I hear you.
Pass the split from one edge
Yeah.
to the world to the other.
We've got a
That'd be cool.
little kind of collab that we've kind of built up for 420. It still needs to be
Wow.
edited, but we got a fair few entries in like a contest of people going why they use cannabis. So going, I use cannabis because. We're going to make that like a nice little montage to share around on the socials and all of that. And just trying to get a little more just awareness to it. And there's a few bigger names in there as well that we've managed to just sneak in.
Cool.
So we're excited to see how that goes. We got to put it all together tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So like, how far away are you to like distance wise?
From
Oh,
you
we live in the
guys?
same city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm across the room from him right now.
He's in the other room. Right?
He's
Wow.
right in front of me. Look at him. Hold
Often
the
we
mic.
do
Hold the
that.
mic.
Often we do that. He's like a suburb away from me, so it's just a bit of a car drive. But you know,
It's
the
about
thing
10,
about
15 minutes.
like I guess our site is that we do have people who are working really remotely and we hardly hear from, but they might send in like an article or they might send in a piece of content, and they'll live in like WA or like out in Whoop Whoop and fucking, you know, the regional areas, and they've just got great growing knowledge or they've got great this or great that. And so there are so many people out there who just like give us content because they're awesome. They're great people who want to see not only their own opinion expressed, but also just like they want to see the whole community elevated.
Yeah.
So there's so many really generous people out there.
What's crazy after doing so many projects, some, you know, a lot of indie stuff, some of it, some major stuff. When I between the times of me not filming or any kind of recording on music, you know, I do a lot of marketing stuff. I do stuff for a few major companies on the brand launching side. But what's crazy is that I've realized and I've came to accept that the stuff that we do, like for an example, like let's just say your podcast, after you do it for so long, you realize it doesn't really belong to you anymore. It belongs to your fan, you know.
True.
And we're very picky on what you can change or add into it because it throws off the flow of, we're like, wait, what are they doing? I'm not used to that. But as soon as they see some kind of structure there, it's like, okay, there's the opener, you guys got commercials, and you guys got a little, you know, what we call sweepers in the programming. Well, your rejoiners, and it brings you, hey, you were back, and you know, whatever it is that you know, once it opens with a graphic and so on. Once you do that for so long, some of the people, they're used to just accepting it that way, you know, and they start seeing that, but in the end, they own it. Like all our movies, like we had a blast doing it, but once we say, okay, guys, we're done. You know, now we're gonna take this to edit. It doesn't belong to us anymore.
Yeah, no. As an actor, like you show up on set and you give your performance, and then it's none of your business after that. You know what I mean? Like you just don't have any control or like anything like that. So that's
Death of the artist, kind of.
But no matter what, we know that, and we're very cautious of what we put on as a performance, as an actor or a filmmaker or a music maker, whatever it is that we're doing on the creativity side. We know that once we're done, we did it for fans. We did it in this case for fans that were asking for number 2, but more importantly, we did it for that community. It's a comedy community. It's the cannabis community. I mean, who doesn't want to get high and laugh? Like, come on, man.
Just making that happen.
Yeah. So it's like we know that it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to everybody else that you know that they need. You know, so like we do it with that pride, and we understand that, we accept that. You know, and we just do
Definitely
our best.
hear you
And
there,
hope,
man.
you know, we hope
It
that
took us-
we don't let people down.
It took us like over 10 years, but that was like over 10 years of like people,
Yeah.
you know, saying, do it. Where is it? You know, so that part of it is like a good feeling that, you know, like they could have stopped, you know, asking for it after 3 years or 8 years.
Sure.
You know, like,
It just kept
you know,
coming.
10, like 11 years, they're still like, if you make a part 3, I would love to support it. I'm like, wow, okay, all right, hey man. Cool.
Yeah.
It just shows you what you can impact just by doing stuff like that.
It comes back to
and it
that
can be a
whole
simple whim.
1,000 true loyal fans. You know, it comes back to that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, because the majority of that fan base is Bay Area, and I think when we made the film with specific slang and like references, you know, stuff like that, it was like, we don't care if just the Bay Area digs this film. If like anyone else does, that's cool, but it's made for the Bay, and those people are freaking loyal. They're fucking loyal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they totally love that. And then in the process of doing that, we found out that people really liked the film, and you know, and not just in California, in all parts of the states, and even in Puerto Rico. Like I got calls from some people that I knew from Puerto Rico. They called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking at your DVD here," you know, and it's like, it was crazy. But now we don't have to worry about that. I mean, it's streaming. Like, oh, you can do that while you're in the shower. Okay, put it loud, or on the toilet. It's fine. None of my business. None of my business. You can stream it and watch I Got 503. It's gonna be fantastic. 420. On 420.
It's awesome that you guys are creatives. Like, as I've gotten older, it's just starting to appreciate like creating, right? When you're younger, you can kind of get lost in the trap of just consuming and just grabbing that. And then once you step out of that box and you start creating, you realize how much more rewarding that is. And when you connect with people who also create, it's like you build an instant connection, because there's a respect between a creator and another creator. And that's always just, it's just such an intimate and deep connection just from the get-go, just because such a strong level of respect.
Yeah, we call it gang recognize gang.
Yeah.
Gang.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. As it goes.
Well, it's like an outlet, because it's almost like it's built up in your system and you let it out and it feels so good. Whether you write, whether you sing, rap, make stuff, you know,
Just get something out.
Whatever you do. And Raul was right. Like, other people know what that feels like, and now you have that connection, because not everyone's capable of it. Not everyone wants to do it or knows how to do it, but like when you meet someone else who's like on that same page, that's a good feeling.
I was the other day, I saw this guy in a Juicy J music video. You know who Juicy J is?
He's an Academy Award winner, man.
I know Juicy J. How do I know Juicy J?
Juicy J.
Because,
3-6 Mafia.
Exactly.
It's from 3-6 Mafia.
Yeah.
This guy was in one of his videos.
No way.
Man, what the heck?
How do you end up
It
there?
was like, that's when I was high when I saw. I was like, wait, what? Fuck, I need to go to
It's a small
sleep.
world, man. It really is.
I love that. You know what? I love that video because like halfway through. Oh shit!
Fucking earthquake 2.0.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, man.
It happens.
I love that. I love that video because halfway through it comes to a stop, and then like me and him get to talk shit to each other real quick. It's a good song.
Awesome.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. What's the song called?
Yeah.
Again?
Let us know.
It's called I'm Sicka. I'm Sicka. I
I'm
think it's SICCA. I'm SICCA. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of this. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like at least a couple million views or something. But
Yeah.
We when you guys were talking, when we were talking about the like loyal fans and like the guys, people knowing you from the Bay Area, it reminds me here we've got a few really big bands that have come out of our city, Brisbane, and I've been seeing them since they were tiny, and now they're like pulling in crowds of 10,000 people, and
that's
it's
amazing.
like I've seen like so many of these smaller bands for like 10, 15 times because of this loyalty that I've connected with them on a personal level, or just even because they're like just so very close to here. It's it's a really interesting experience when you get to see their progression, and just growing up with them almost.
what's the like genre? Like what kind of music?
There's a lot of different scenes in Brisbane. Like you have hardcore and punk scenes.
Yeah.
You have stuff that's
Screamo?
more like a little bit, but I think the stuff that's more traditional Australian kind of pub rock is really like the root of it. And so you have a lot of alternative rock
I would call
that actually is still produced.
One of the radio stations, I was listening to it like at 10 o'clock one night because a friend's band actually was premiering on it.
Was this for Triple Z?
No, it was Triple J.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Bad Neighbor was on it. So,
right.
But anyway, they called the genre that they play beard punk. It's
punk.
very like kind of manly men, kind of not manly men, but like deeper voice, like that kind of growliness, and it's kind of just letting out a lot of emotion. But it's played in the style of a punk rock sort of sound. It's very iconic to Australia. It hits this kind of drinking kind of song.
It's kind of like any other, US city, or even like any other English speaking like major city, because it's so fragmented. Like these days you've got hip hop and like drill artists from like the lower income areas. And then you've got, electronic music, you've got techno and electro happening in some corners. And then you have, like just bits and pieces of everything that's happening all at once. And they all just are a bit cliquey, like they stick to their own circles. But if you go into like the city of a night, if you go into Fortitude Valley, which is kind of like our party district, you're bound to find something for the most part that fits that kind of bill. So it's a pretty good scene. It could be better, like, one of the things that the government has been doing is locking down our venues at a certain time, like almost a curfew on drinks because people get violent. So, yeah.
What time? What time do they do that over there?
I think it's 2 or 3 a.m. 1 a.m. Right.
It's
quite early.
They lock out. So once you're in the club, if you leave, you can't get back in another.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What if you left your wallet in there?
Then maybe,
Wait. I got my keys in there. I got my jacket.
Sure,
I can't get
they
home.
do that all the time. Yeah.
I came to smoke a cigarette. And somehow you have a whiff. I don't know why.
Because you're a loser. Left all your shit in the club.
When you enter the clubs, you got to give them your ID, which has a chip on it, and they scan you in. And they take your photo when you're entering, so they know exactly who's
some real biometric shit.
They're like, sure, go ahead. Make sure you get to the eye scan right there. Wait, what? Eye scan?
Straight up. Yeah. In fact, it's gotten to that level where, they're thinking of rolling out surveillance because of COVID. Like, they're hoping
Big brother.
Yeah.
Big brother,
that stuff bothers me. Like, I understand that we need to control and contain this virus, but it's just being used as an opportunity to fucking shove that shit down our throats. Do you guys know about Five Eyes? Five Eyes is like this collaborative intergovernmental project which the US started and like their secret services started, but it's between Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. And they all collaborate on intelligence. So all of the data and all of the stuff that they're collecting from their civilians, they're sharing it with other intelligence agencies and vice versa. And supposedly it's to counteract terror. But ultimately, like, why things are tested out, we get a lot of new surveillance measures here in Australia. And my opinion on that is that we're like a testing ground. we're a testing ground for larger places like the United States and the United Kingdom. And so a lot of their really weird draconian laws end up happening here first.
Wow. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a base there, huh?
Yeah, you do, Pine
Yeah.
Gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that shit,
My-
that shit is actually at the center of our greatest constitutional crisis ever. We had Gough
Fuck.
Whitlam, who was like basically a social democrat. He was someone who wanted to keep all the resources in Australia, like kind of a nationalist in that sense, but not heavily.
Uh-huh.
He had this sense of like the US had these kind of imperialistic aims, and they had all of these nuclear tests in the middle of the outback. So Gough Whitlam had decided that, yeah, we basically don't want to do that anymore. We're going to try and kick you out. And so the CIA directly responded by saying, well, if you kick us out of the middle of Australia, we're going to kick you out. We're going to basically perform a coup. And then what happens next year, like the year after, a coup is performed, and Australian politics has never been the same. Like ever since, the US has had a tight grip on our politics.
Mhm.
And no one knows what to do about it here in Australia. We just kind of accept it.
You know, I think
That's
everything.
next level shit. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think now with President Trump in office, he is. I think he's easing off of like he doesn't want any other countries bringing
I get
everything
that.
back this way.
I get that.
So everything is changing right now
For sure.
throughout the world.
The old world is kind of dying, and a new world is
Yeah.
being born.
Dude, you can be 125 years old and you've never experienced some shit like this.
Nah, oath,
That's
man.
crazy.
We're
Oath.
fucking like, dude, like the industry just like everything's
Well,
complete.
What I'm seeing in the US is that over 20 million people are now unemployed because of this crisis.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is unprecedented.
See, me and Jose are old enough to see experience. So something that we remember is 9/11.
Yeah.
Right.
And because
I
we
was only
remember that
4.
shit.
I
Yeah.
was
Well, we
8,
fucking
9.
I remember that shit real well.
I
was
know,
on my way
like
to-
I know exactly where I was and with who and everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
True, eh?
shit.
You're gonna find that a lot with older people. They're always gonna say, "Oh, where were you when 9/11?"
It's kind of like the back in my day of the 21st century now. We
well,
talk
this
about 9/11.
this is your guys'
crazy.
9/11. You know, it's
Yeah,
something that we
this
Yeah.
is bigger than 9/11. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
what the
big.
crazy thing.
Huge.
It's
For sure.
It's
Like the fact that the US government, like Trump can say something like, oh, it's going to be a success if under 100,000 people die. Like,
Shit.
can you imagine 3,000, like how many people died in 9/11? Only a few thousand.
You're in the
Of course it's-
COVID. You're in the COVID unit. They're going, You're like, what? What is that? What the fuck is that?
Yeah,
You know?
no, that's quite
Hey,
right.
dude, I saw that Florida like opened up their beaches again.
Jeez, man. That's a death
Yeah.
wish. Haven't they got a lot of old people there?
What the fuck?
Yeah, man. Like I saw, like, you know, like, cause I question every media outlet and like whatever I read, but like I read that quite a few times where they're like, no, like they're like,
Ugh.
Because
open up
their tourism, they don't understand. They don't understand. Like we see that. We see things like the situation, what's happening in New York. I have
Yeah.
friends that live in New York and counterparts and business
For
partners,
sure, man. Fuck.
and they're like, I can't leave the house.
Yeah.
And like, we're gonna get ready to run out of food, and it's like, damn, that's fucking nuts. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've seen this, and it just seems so fucking odd because we have seen this in other countries, like, you know, when Ukraine went under, and
That instability.
Peru. Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck? Long lines of, and we've been seeing that in just in other international news, and then now it's hitting here because people just don't want to go anywhere. They're, you know, they can't, you know, they can't get on the freeway and get on the highway and, you know, go down the street to go and do this, you know, because
Yeah, but you know what?
everyone's at work.
With that being said, in this country, man, like you're never gonna get everyone to stay home. They're just not gonna stay home. There's way too many people who are gonna do what the fuck that they want to do, because as far as options, what we want and what we need, what we want is still available to us. So,
Yeah.
like, if you want to go, you know, get some coffee, eat this and that, even if you know, get it and then come home afterwards, like you're still out, like, and about. And one of the like the essential places that's like the most important is a fucking every liquor store. Every liquor store is open, of course.
Mhm.
That's essential stuff. You know what I mean? So people have to, medicate and find ways to pass time, man.
You know, one thing I'm very, very sad about, and I mean, I think you guys would agree with me. You know, it's 2020 now. Where the fuck are our jetpacks? I mean, come on, we could have just used that.
The
and just, like,
Jetsons.
flew to the
Hey.
store.
Hey, remember the fucking Jetsons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because like I was told like as a kid, 2000 means that we're gonna be like the fucking Jetsons and we're gonna have all these flying cars and shit. And it's
That could have came in handy right now.
like,
Could have.
At the
I wish I was
drive-thru.
in like outer space right now. Like I was supposed to have that option to go to outer space and be like, guys, I'm gonna leave for a while.
That sucks.
Maybe
don't
we're
think
just
anyone
like maybe
We're
we're
in the
just like
process.
10 years behind that. We just need to wait a little bit longer, and the Jetsons' future will appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
I think
What?
it could. I think
A
that could happen.
jetpack here?
Like, just
You
think
know?
about it. Internet came out realistically around 92 to 94. Like, that's when it got started picking up. Like, how much further have we gone? That's like 25, 6 years. How much have we changed in that time? How much more can we change in
Shit.
25 years?
The innovation in hoverboard technology has been really, really poor in that time, man. That's my biggest issue with historical progression is that we haven't actually figured out the hoverboard yet.
Yeah.
Well, we kind
I
of
still use
There's a Tony
I
Hawk
still
video.
use AOL
Oh, wow.
dial up.
Holy shit.
You know what? I was
that's
having
some
this
serious nostalgia.
and you like you have to be younger, but like there's gonna be kids that grow up who are like, oh yeah, those scooters over there have been here forever. Like those damn things that
The Segways.
that and bikes where I'm like, yo, that's fucking recent and that's fucking weird to me. But like kids who've had like technology their like entire life. it's
They
like,
just
Can
oh,
you
need
imagine
us.
being born
those
with
fuck-
the internet, not knowing the world without it?
Yeah,
Yeah, my
like,
brother's a
no,
Zoomer. He has
You
that.
can walk, just walk somewhere. Like you don't gotta fucking hop on a scooter. It's weird.
That's a big that's the biggest complaint. They're like, what do you mean? I can just call Uber and they'll send it to me. What the fuck? No, but like, yeah, what you're saying, right? All your life, that's all you've ever known was internet. And they're the first ones to sit there and learn how to swipe left before anything, And it's like, wow, they'll figure out any website or any kind of podcast, dashboard like this because it just makes sense. It's meant for people to understand the structure of a touch screen and a menu.
It's very
option for you.
intuitive, like logical, using a computer in that way. But
Yeah.
what's interesting is that if that's going to be the new normal for so many children just like growing up in this kind of modern world, like what does it look like? Does that change what it means to be human in a really fundamental way? Because then the way that you've like interfaced with things since you were a child, it's the same logic as a computer. Like there's something there. I think that the interesting thing is that we're becoming more hybridized with technology almost. Like we're not just humans, without any of our technology, we're not the same almost. So
you know what? None of that's gonna matter when the zombies come.
you're right. And they're probably going to come in the next year or so.
Probably Ice Cube will save
2
us all.
weeks.
Yeah,
There
2
it
weeks
is.
tops. And we need to get Ice Cube on board before then. So please tell all your family and friends, anyone you know.
Fucking like hashtag Ice Cube, man.
Yeah,
Hashtag
you gotta do that.
get cubed.
Not if the robots get you first.
Cambodia's
Yeah, no,
not
you've got to
far
look out for
away.
those robots.
Them robots with their internets.
Those broadband fucking fiber connections fucking
Broadband
way faster
fiber
than me.
Yeah, but you know what? You like
Woo.
you mentioned like technology and robots, and and these films are gonna like mean something because the general public, especially for people who have like I don't want to say basic jobs, but like a lot of their jobs are being like, yo, this machine can do what like you bring to the table. So you know what I'm saying?
Tax the robot.
I keep hearing
That's it.
that like there's cars like that don't have any drivers and they're gonna be
Yeah,
able
in
to
San
take you
Francisco,
wherever
in
you
San
want to
Jose,
go. I'm
I
like,
think.
San Francisco.
Yeah, in San Jose.
yo, dude,
Yeah.
I don't want no part of that, man. Like that's fucking weird. That's like Total Recall. You know what I mean? Dude, that's fucking weird.
Fuck. Hey,
I reckon that'll take a little while to roll out, though, right? Like humans will probably have jobs for a little bit, but you're right. That's going to destabilize a lot of people.
I
The
mean,
way,
you know, security guards. I know that these like security guard things are gonna
security
start coming
guards?
out. Cashiers are you know like
Burger
that
flip.
job's gonna be over with for a while.
Yeah.
Fast
You know,
food can be done
even
real
cooks,
easy.
you know, even cooks and shit like that with like you know fast food and stuff like that. Like that's all
Yeah.
gonna be technology, man.
The idea that I remember seeing for how they would implement, like if you hired a robot in a human's place, you would have to pay the salary of that robot as like a tax. So like what would be the equivalent of a human doing that kind of job and just pay it as a tax to help kind of build like that universal basic income. So like, you know, everyone in the entire country, regardless of how much money you have, getting a flat amount per month.
Or they can just get like a $1,200, you know, upfront fee and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
The good old
crazy.
$1,200.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'll feed you
1,200.
for the next 6 months. Stay inside. $1,200 bucks.
$1,200.
Bastards.
Yeah,
Got
they
us.
printed. I did the math.
They
so,
really cheated you guys, like with that
did.
$1 trillion bailout.
I did the math where they put 2 trillion into the stock market for a bailout. If you gave that 2 trillion to every citizen in the US, roughly, it worked out to about $6,000 per person.
Damn.
And that's only 2 trillion. They're putting in much more into the stock market to keep it alive. So
You see,
realistically,
we have
Okay.
all these guys that experience not just the market crash in 2008, right?
Mm.
But before that, 9/11, they saw
Sure.
how bad it got. I mean, banks went out of business.
yep.
Yeah.
The
About to happen
fucking
again.
the ones that had the money went out of business. Like what the fuck? You know,
Mhm.
how's that happen? But
Mhm.
so they're looking at a situation like this when the economy goes down. They're like, shit, we're gonna have these airlines are complaining about it. And so many people want their money back and refunds. I personally know some people that got stuck in Madrid trying to come over here. They're still in Spain, man. Like what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Damn.
But
My-
and do you know somebody there?
I actually do. I actually know someone, not in Madrid. I know them in Valencia, but Spain. But no, what I was going to say is my parents had tickets to go to Europe in August, and the company they booked through went under, and they've lost, I think like $2,500 just for their flights.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow. You see what's happening? So
Yeah.
like they're like, yo, this is all we're gonna give you. You know,
It's pretty
Fuck it.
crazy.
you know. But
Yeah,
you're gonna have places like San Francisco, San Jose, places like Venice, places like Sacramento that are selling legal cannabis, and they have cannabis clubs. And shout out to Burner in San Francisco that has his cookies. You guys gotta check it out. They're gonna keep this going because they pay taxes towards it, and it's gonna help out the city they're in. So I mean, there's a lot of benefits beyond that. Like if you guys gotta look at it, like right now, we're gonna really see a lot of analytics, not just on the way that people are seeing and streaming, on the movies or in the news or whatever it is. The games are coming out right now, all kinds of shit. So like we're gonna see a lot of change. I think we're gonna see the best analytics when it comes to changing and trends, like quick. We're gonna see the numbers per I would say per quarter, and see the change and trend. What can happen if we go through another situation like this, like even just a small ripple, what that would mean, hurricane or whatever. We're gonna start getting some crazy analytics from that. So I'm gonna pay attention and see what the fuck, and then wonder how the fuck did they get that shit? All high,
Good
the
question to
worst
ask.
part. It's crazy, man. But we're gonna see a lot of that happen.
It's going to be a really interesting new world.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a fantastic thing that at least we're coming out with a movie in this time that everyone's just kind of under, you know, they don't know what else to do. It's kind of sad. They're stuck. But you know, we're gonna we're gonna release this movie on 420, and hopefully we can, you know, give some people some positive vibes. You know,
Yeah, that's
and
good.
enjoy and
I'm
laugh.
glad. Really that you guys are the
I think the whole
spirits
COVID thing will
this
probably
time.
help you guys out. Just get a lot more views initially. Like it played a
Yeah.
little in your favor, so that's like awesome. Hopefully you'll you know, you'll pull in a whole bunch of new fans, and that'll be
Yeah.
awesome to see.
And if you go to YouTube, what happened is we put it 2 times for free on YouTube.
Ah,
Like we released it, and then we had another one that was on Google Play, so we were like, we'll release that one too.
Yeah.
And
you
we
check
put
it
it
out.
on there. Yeah, it's number 2's there.
Cool.
Number 1 I think is on Amazon, but if you're a Prime member, you get to watch that for free.
Yeah.
Nice.
So on YouTube, you're gonna see the whole movie is part 2. Check it out. It's got over 3 million views already. It's a fantastic thing. But I would suggest
Wow.
watching part 1 to understand the
Mhm.
story, and then seeing the 2. But I've had people that have watched part 2 and then go, wait, because we don't spell it with like a number 2. We put like 2, like me too, TOO. You know what I'm saying? So it's I
Yeah.
got 5 on it too. You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So people think that's the only movie. I've had, like, I didn't even know that you guys had another one. I was like, which one did you watch? Oh, the time where you guys are having lemonade stand. I'm like, oh shit, you're watching number 2.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you
So I've
get?
seen
Is it
that.
like if I watch number 2 without watching number 1, would I get some of the references that were made in number 1 without watching it, or not? Is it kind of an essential watch that I watch number 1 first?
What do you think, Jose?
You know what? It depends how fucking high you are. Because 1 and 2 might just my fucking blur with all our bullshit. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
Good point. Good point. Thanks, Jose.
but you know, I would definitely recommend going in order, because there's like an important storyline with certain moments with certain characters that kind of
Turtle.
that like builds into part 3, and then
Mm.
like it'll make sense and go, oh shit, you know, and you might even like root for certain things and like want to see certain people, you know, come back, and then when they do, you're like, all right, cool, you know. But just like as far as making sense, you know.
Bit of continuity.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
You guys
All right. I'll do it that way then, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What do you guys reckon? It's been over an hour. Do you guys
been
want
like
to
2.
start wrapping up?
Yeah, whatever's best. We're
Yeah.
happy. We
Yeah,
got
yeah.
to
Cool.
come on. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Thanks for
reaching
coming
out.
on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's been great.
I remember I got 5 on it, 3, A Higher Calling. When does it come out, Jose?
Love that.
Comes out 420 on Monday, and it's on a ton of, you know, the VOD outlets, you know, like iTunes, Amazon Prime. So
Yeah.
it's available, and I think it's going to be trending that day. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
everyone who's a part of the film, as far as like who's in it and who helped make it happen, we're all on social media, and we're all going to be talking about it, and
Yeah.
you know,
Awesome.
plugging it and just fucking plastering it everywhere. So
What's
Yeah.
your Instagram? What's your Instagram address, Jose?
actor Jose Rosete, Rosete. Like there's a couple of other ones that like aren't me, but I'm the one with the Walking Dead picture.
Yeah.
So
It's your.
Awesome.
The other ones are a picture of your face on a girl's body.
no, but like there's a couple of other accounts that just like aren't me. So, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is Raul Martinez 41510.
Is that your postcode or something like that?
415 is my area
Bay
code.
Area, yeah.
415, but 415 is the San Francisco area code. And
Cool.
then 510 is East Bay. So when we say so the saying in the Bay Area to say Bay Area, we say 41510.
Yeah.
Right.
Martinez. So Raul Martinez 41510.
I know. We'll have it
Find
in
me
on
the
Instagram.
article we put out. We'll tag
Nice.
you guys in that, and we'll tag the movie as well, and we'll put it out for you guys.
Cool, man.
Hopefully, we pull a few Aussies into your mix. That would be great.
Yeah, thanks for
I will love
exposing
that.
yourself to this audience.
Mm.
Really cool.
Much appreciated, man. Thank you guys.
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks for reaching out. You guys have a good night, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy your eating.
Cool guys. All right, brother. Be safe,
Stay
man.
safe.
See ya.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
You have been watching the Friendly Aussie podcast. Thank you.